How do you feel about someone when they are more successful than you, especially if they're in your field of expertise? Welcome to Walking Through the Word today, and we are in John chapter 3, looking in verses 22 through 36. Jesus has just finished a discussion with Nicodemus, and now we've switched over, and now we're going back to John the Baptist. And John is baptizing in the Judean countryside, and Jesus also happens to be there, according to what we see in these verses 22 through 23. And there's some debate that starts to happen between John's followers and a certain Jew. We don't know who this is, but they come up to John the Baptist because they are a little indignant. And they go, "Rabbi, teacher, that man, Jesus, who was with you on the other side of the Jordan, remember the one that you talked about? Look, he's baptizing and everybody's going with him." Now, they were probably pretty indignant. They were a little jealous, a little envious. I mean, the success that their teacher had had, they loved John's success. People were fascinated with him. Suddenly, John is fading away. He's disappearing. He's yesterday's news. And they were probably expecting John to be indignant. And John didn't give them the response that they expected. A person can receive, in verse 27, only what is given them from heaven. In other words, God gave me a mission. You, verse 28, you followers can testify that I said I am not the Messiah. I've just been sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. John gives an analogy here and says the friend who attends the bridegroom waits and listens for him and is full of joy when he hears the bridegroom's voice. In other words, do you go to a friend's wedding being jealous because your friend is getting married? No, you are joyful that your friend is getting married. You share in their joy because you see that they are flourishing, they are successful. And John says, this is my joy. My joy is complete because the job that I had is being fulfilled. The Messiah is here. My announcement, my proclamation is coming to be. It's not just me just spouting things off. It's actually happening. He has to become greater, as he says in verse 30. I've got to become less. This is what is supposed to happen. I mean, after all, in verse 31, I love this. The one who comes from above is above all, and the one who's from earth belongs to the earth and speaks as one from the earth. In other words, John's like, what do I know? I'm just some lonely dude from the earth, but this guy's from heaven. He speaks with the authority of someone who is above all. John is trying to teach his disciples, and as a matter of fact, I think John in some ways is telling his disciples, you should be going over here as well. You're missing it if you're staying with me. You need to go with him. He testifies to what he has seen and heard, but no one accepts his testimony. This is what John told us at the beginning, as in the writer John told us at the beginning of his letter when he said that the world would not recognize the Creator. However, John the Baptist says, whoever has accepted it has certified that God is truthful. In other words, God is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And God is now speaking and giving the Spirit without limit. God is now offering what he has never offered humanity before. This is who this man is. And the Father, remember, John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and he knows exactly who Jesus is. So he says here in verse 35, the Father loves the Son and has placed everything in his hands. And whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. But whoever rejects the Son will not see life, for God's wrath remains on them. This is John, the writer John, unpacking what it is that John the Baptist said. He's saying, look, you have to understand that what God has offered us now is far greater than what we could possibly offer ourselves. John the Baptist says, look, Jesus is the Son. John the writer affirms this and says, Jesus is the Son. He has to become greater because this is the purpose and the mission of God. So John the Baptist is celebrating the success of Jesus because he says this is what is supposed to happen. When we see other people that are successful, are we jealous? Are we envious? Do we do the lip service of the outer lip service of going, hey, good for them, and on the inside we're going, why isn't that me? Instead of recognizing that we all have our place within God's mission. And while our place might seem less than or greater than some other person's purpose and mission on life, it is no less important. Each piece has a vital and crucial part in honoring God. Each piece has a part to play. Sometimes they're greater, sometimes they're less. But ultimately, we shouldn't be jealous or envious of someone else's success. They are simply carrying out God's purpose. And we should rejoice that they are doing so, because that means that God's kingdom gets advanced. Not ourselves, but God should get the glory. As John the Baptist said, he should be the one that gets greater. We should become less. Have a blessed day.